You're watching the GameSpot co-op stage, sponsored by LEGO Star Wars: The Force Awakens.
Hey everybody, welcome back to GameSpot's co-op stage here at E3 2016. We're live on the floor. There's a bunch of people wandering around and a lot more standing in line for Zelda. So we got a fun little segment for you right now. We're going to be ranking our best and worst things of E3, and as always, we have our wonderful whiteboards because that's how we do with props. You know, we spend a lot of money on our high budget here. So joining us, we have Danny and Craig, of course.
Purchased just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, we bought them last night.
Just a few hours ago. Right.
And Cheap BD from Cheap Ass Gamer is here. What's up, man?
Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course, man. It's always good, especially now that you're back over in the States. Yeah, there we go.
Oh.
You get your own applause. Nobody else got claps. So, all right, cool. So, pretty simple, and that's that I'm just going to ask you, you're going to give me your 3 best and 3 worst, but we're going to go one at a time. So right now, what is one of the best things about E3 2016 so far? It's press conferences, stuff on the floor. I saw a guy get carried out by security earlier. That was crazy. That was kind of a fun moment.
Really?
Yeah, dude. He was screaming that people were killing him, and then they dragged him out, and then a helicopter came by. It was crazy. They got him.
What?
Yeah. I'm not making this up.
Tell if making up
that was
or
one
not.
of my best moments so far of E3. The guy getting dragged out.
That happened.
But
that did happen, yeah.
All right, cool. So first up, Chibi, what is one of your best moments of E3 2016 so far?
All right, I was very, very impressed with the Sony presser. Not impressed with my handwriting, but I thought the content was great, but as just an entertainment show to sit there and watch, it was great. They had an orchestra, they had great looking games that were coming out one after another. They didn't have guys on stage showing stats about how many consoles that they sold, because they could have totally done that.
Yeah.
They're capable of bragging, they're winning. They didn't do that, they just showed games, and it was a great show.
They did a really good job. We mentioned this earlier. They did a good job of letting their games do their talking for them.
They really did.
And it was just fun to watch. It was fun to sit there and be like, oh, this is cool. And you know, I made this reference earlier. You go to a movie and you see the previews. Sometimes the previews are the best part, right? Yeah. And there was no movie per se. It was just a bunch of previews, and that was awesome.
Yep. A lot of excitement, and the orchestra was just like a little touch of class. Like I loved that.
And a shout out to that projection system that they had, that was putting different environments on the stage. Where where Kojima sort of missed his cue, and he
got to walk on the lights of God and then got ahead of it.
There was. I think that there will be a time where Kojima looks back and he's like, I went too fast, because nobody ever gets that entrance ever. Yeah. Like, unless you're Magneto.
Right.
Like, that's it.
No, Magneto would just hover in. That's what he does.
It's crazy.
But, all right, cool. What do you got? What's your...
I can't draw the Quake logo. I don't think that's the Quake 1 logo.
A pitchfork?
I can't. It looks, yeah. If I did that, then it would kind of be the Quake 3 logo, I think.
There you go.
Quake Champions. I mean, it's kind of an unknown quantity. For a hot second, I thought it was a MOBA, and I was freaking out. It's not. They've said it's a first-person shooter coming to PC only, so that makes me feel better. I mean, I don't know exactly what it's going to be. Maybe it's, specific heroes or champions with, like, specific... movesets. Maybe it's team-based. Maybe the team-based thing didn't work for Team Arena. That was kind of a hot mess. And we do live in a world with, like, Lawbreakers doing its thing, and Overwatch is obviously, like, kicking ass, and those games are awesome. I mean, they're basically action Quake.
Would you be upset if it was class-based?
The devil's in the detail with this sort of stuff.
It's not really Quake then, right?
So And the counterpoint to that is, you're totally right, and the counterpoint to that is that, like, the Unreal Tournament Alpha I've been playing for about a year, and that is literally exactly what I would have wanted. It is Unreal Tournament in, like, 2016.
Right.
Yeah. And it's good, but it's not great. It's nothing to write home about. It's not like I'm playing Overwatch, I'm like, oh my god. So in a way I kind of like, post-Doom id, I trust you, do your weird Quake thing.
Don't let me down.
Hopefully it's okay. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the games that are like being rebooted or brought back, right? They're kind of like just really just like taking a flyer on something. They're like, well, people like Quake is not a big franchise anymore, right?
That's fair.
I mean, you could go to a kid on the street and be like, you play Quake? They'll be like, what?
Yeah, they have no idea, right? The younger demo does not understand what Quake was and is, right? So if they take it back and it totally, if it goes Doom and then it becomes cool to play again, you got the older audience who played it and the younger audience, you bring them in, all of a sudden you revitalize the franchise at a fairly minimal expense, because it's not like you're having to come up with entirely new characters and lore and all that stuff. Anyway, so.
One thing that did detract from Quake was that terrible Aftershock pun that shortly followed.
Oh God, yeah.
Even he's like, if you forgive the pun,
Yeah.
doing the aftershocks.
Don't ever say if you forgive the pun. You better say something
that just means
stupid.
stop. Yeah, exactly. All right, Craig, what was one of your best moments of E3?
For me, this is a game that I heard about last year. They talked about it, but for me, it's all about Sea of Thieves.
Really? Okay.
Sea of Thieves, a game by Rare, not old Rare.
Danny's got
but
you
new
with the
Rare.
wave back up.
I love the way that they presented Sea of Thieves as far as they said, hey, here's a bunch of people with zero instruction. They're going to play the game, and they're going to have an awesome time. And look, I know from experience, when you make YouTube video, when you make a video in that style, a YouTube style video where you're just cutting and slicing however you want, you can make anything look amazing.
Right, yeah.
But they made it look amazing.
Yeah.
And they made me want to play it because just the simple idea of saying, yeah, these people have never touched this game before. They were given no instructions. I love everything about that. And yeah, one of them looked like Nick when he was playing.
And another one looked like, some of their guys looked like Bizarro versions of people at our office. We had like Bizarro Nick, Bizarro Austin Harper. Like,
but it gets me excited because I just looking at how this is and the idea of like teamwork and being pirates and having to have some sort of teamwork element to destroy the other ships. That's really cool. And I like the idea of pirates drowning in a bloody mess of after getting hit by cannonballs and stuff. That's fun.
it's like a fun pirate playground is kind of what it looks like.
It's like what you said earlier about Sid Meier's Pirates. It's like that with mates, and hopefully, it'll be as much about exploration as it is about combat. All of these people have amazing teeth, by the way.
Oh yeah, for pirates?
Yeah, for pirates especially. Look at that guy. Look at that guy.
He's got some chompers.
You can eat an apple in like 2 bites.
Maybe one of the people you can
Kinda
play
looks
is
like
a
you.
pirate dentist, and he's the best. All right, cool.
The art style is really good too. It appeals to young people and I think adults.
Yeah, it's
too.
kind of cartoony, but I like it. So, all right, cool. See, I would not expect that one from you, Craig. Actually,
Dude, I'm stoked. I legitimately, like, pirate games are cool. I like pirates.
You play Uncharted 4?
So
no, I haven't even touched it.
between
Are there
pirates and
in
ninjas,
Uncharted
you're
4?
on
Fucking
Team
play
Pirate?
Uncharted 4. Yep.
Delicious.
Do you like
cool.
Monkey Island?
I like games with pirates. All games
Okay,
with pirates.
just play Uncharted 4.
Sea
Black
of
Flag?
Thieves,
You never played that.
Never played Black Flag, but pirates are just
For
awesome.
somebody who loves games with pirates.
Danny, I like the idea of being a pirate. I like the idea.
Forget
of
our
going
segment.
out.
Let's just talk about
okay.
pirates. No. I was on board.
You know what's a great pirate thing? Hook.
Yeah.
Hook. Let's talk
talk
movie.
about it. You wanna do that?
You want to talk Hook? We can talk Hook. Pan. Hook. Rufio. Sorry. All right.
Look at all this food. Sorry.
So,
Imagine
besides
that food.
Hook,
Yes.
what are you hyped about?
All right, here's my
Number
number
two.
2 best.
Yeah.
It's Call of Duty Infinite Warfare.
nice.
Okay.
This is an infinity symbol with a smiley face. In case you needed explanation.
Oh,
I
that's
just thought it
good.
was a guy with
That's
glasses.
clever.
That should be their logo.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to them after this, actually. This looks amazing. It's basically No Man's Sky combined with Call of Duty and Terminator and, I mean, everything that you want in a shooting game.
Think about what you just said.
I know.
Did you ever think you would
No.
describe a Call of Duty
No.
game like that?
I did not think I would ever be flying a spaceship in Call of Duty, jumping out of that spaceship and then shooting people and then getting back in the spaceship and flying away. And there's also robots that you get to shoot also.
Yeah, so who doesn't like shooting robots? Especially, what if there's pirates? Space pirates? Craig?
I love Samus Aran. She's a space pirate. I'm just saying that's a good thing. I know it's
Well,
not.
she's a space bounty hunter. She fights space
Whatever,
pirates.
she fights, whatever. It's all the same thing. But yeah, the thing about Infinite Warfare, and I mentioned this to you earlier, and I mentioned this on Twitter, but had they just been like, this is a new game, nobody's gonna know what it is, and they didn't put a title to it, that would have been the talk of the show. If they just said, this is a game coming soon, they didn't even give it a title.
Right,
People were like, that's it. That's the game I want. You're in space with grappling hooks and moving around from place to place shooting guys? Yeah. Sounds great. But then they're like Call of Duty, and then all the haters came out.
people are like, it's Call of Duty
A guy
again.
on Facebook, literally, I mentioned that, and this guy goes, you're 100% right. I looked at it and I said, I don't like this anymore. You know, it's like, dude, that's the problem. You're so close-minded. You loved it until 5 seconds prior. That's amazing.
That's why they showed the name at the end,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
And meanwhile, no idea about really what the content of the game is, right? I mean,
Right.
that flying portion could be one mission. For all
Yeah,
we
but
know.
That's what we do. We judge things
Right,
without
it's just-
playing them.
right,
It's
of
our
course.
job. Yeah. It's a fun job. There's never repercussion. Anyway, go. So
I decided not to draw anything on
Any?
this because
Really?
I've already drawn.
Oh,
here it is.
oh, wonderful.
I'm more excited about your picture than I am for the game.
This is Norman Reedus and his demon baby nightmare situation, and the 5 people in the. What the fuck is this game called again?
Acid Trip, I think.
Yeah.
Kojima's Madness.
Hideo Kojima's is Scrooge McDuck. Swimming through gold.
It has
what'll
such
I make?
a weird name. And
Stranding something.
Death Stranding.
Death Stranding.
Yeah.
He really likes to take words and use them where they don't belong.
Metal Gear Solid.
Well,
Sure.
you know, the thing about it is they
That's
said, I saw an interview with Kojima and he was like, here's the thing, the game's not coming for a long time.
Yeah.
So like, it will probably be 2018, 2019 before we see this game.
Right, so it's like your dog is hungry, and instead of like giving him a little bit of food, you just like put something shiny in front of him and go, I say, this is gonna like, there's gonna have nothing. Can we like go back in like 2 years' time whenever we see gameplay of this game and rewatch this shit and see if it has anything to do with it whatsoever?
You know what would be amazing is if you play as one of the five things on the horizon, not as your guy, you know?
It's like a rail shooter. You're just like,
you just play as Kojima, and he just follows Norman Reedus around in his weird life.
I mean, the reason I'm happy about this is that this only happens with Hideo Kojima and Sony. This only happens when you've got this auteur who makes games that are almost good beside the story that is in them. Like the story's almost like
incomprehensible.
But it's in a really good game, so I'm like forced to play it. Yeah. So I think it's wonderful that this nonsense gets to happen.
Dude,
I can't wait to see more of it.
You could just be walking around picking up babies the entire game.
Well, and that's the thing is like they showed it off, and you know, people were like, you know, that looks pretty good. And
Why? What's happening? You're crying because a baby's dead, and then this dead fish, and people are like, what the Call of Duty people must feel like to be like, we gave them spaceships, and they still hate this, and we've got Norman Reedus and a fucking iPod child, and people are like, yeah.
iPod child?
I'm part of the problem.
I'm assuming the baby is a weapon on a chain, and you just spin it around.
Yeah, Kratos lost his
hook.
chains.
They need to add that in Dead Rising 4.
Yeah, it definitely needs a
baby
grappling hook.
chain.
That's the only thing it's missing right now.
Right, yeah.
Just like a baby that you throw.
Babies.
Craig?
Mine is very simple. I've had zero interest in this franchise up until now. I'm talking about the bearded one. I'm talking about God of Mother effing War. All right. Here's the thing. I literally, this game, I played God of War 1. I was like, okay, I get it. I get it. And for me, I'm not a huge like get involved in the story guy, right? Like it's like I get it, you know, Greek mythology and fun, and he's up against blah blah blah. But this, when I saw this trailer, I was like, okay, this is different. This excites me. I'm fighting this giant guy on ice, and you know what? He's got fire, and he's gonna and my son's over there, and he's gonna shoot me with an arrow. That sounds really cool.
But it seems to play nothing like the old God of War games.
Yes,
and that's like
right.
Isn't that great? That sounds amazing.
That seems to be the thing.
And if you're gonna
like
reboot
Zelda.
something, don't you want to change it while keeping it the same?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they've done. It's familiar but different. And you know, just the idea of as a dad, right?
Right.
The idea that
Are you as terrible a parent as Kratos is?
No, but you need to grow a dad beard.
Let me just say this. If I got shot by an arrow, I would slap the shit out of that kid.
I know, right? Well,
But-
dude, you don't know what happens. It was that kind of scary, calm rage, you know, like where he just gets hit and he's just like, ugh, and he's just like, wait later, you know, and he goes back and it's just like,
Don't say
oh, no.
sorry, just be better.
be better.
That's
For
really great parenting.
For Kratos, getting shot with an arrow is like you stepping on a Lego.
Oh yeah.
Ah, God, I did that the other day.
I hate those freaking Legos.
No, Dad, don't get the chains out.
Oh, gosh.
That's like a dark turn. But yeah, new God of War looks pretty cool. We'll see what happens. So I'm actually going to cut you guys off from your best. We're going to talk about the worst because we need to have time. And that's what people really care about on the internet, let's be honest.
All right.
So, sorry, you had something already.
Right.
Yeah,
just
destroy your masterpiece.
Are we
okay.
moving on to worst?
Yeah, we're going to move on to worst.
Oh, okay.
Unless you guys want to just fire them off real fast.
I'm ready.
Zelda looked all right.
Yeah.
Zelda.
So, Zelda, cool.
I wrote Nintendo in general.
Okay.
Referring to, I didn't guys.
Really
This is what
good.
happens when I have to rush.
We should give him a time limit for everyone. It'll be great.
Their presence in general is kind of disappointing. They did the best they could with it because they were able to generate a giant line by showing one game and by having a really long demo.
Yeah.
But it's a little sad.
Okay, so starting out the worst of E3 with Nintendo.
Wow. That's bold.
All right, that's an unpopular opinion. You hear all those people waiting in
Boo
the
that
crushing
man.
line all day? It's not worth it, apparently.
You can tweet at him at CheapED to tell him how much
Did you think that Zelda looked great when you watched the?
Yeah.
Oh, you
Yeah,
did?
we
I did.
talked
You
about it
think like
earlier.
the visuals were great?
I think
Well,
it looks like
okay.
I think it looks like a moving watercolor painting, which that to me is very cool. Like
But isn't that to disguise the fact that it doesn't have a lot of the?
100%. Absolutely.
But it worked.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Okay.
he's on board.
That's
It's still
the thing,
early,
that's the thing
too.
that Nintendo's always done so well is they've disguised their limits, and especially when you look at anything on the Wii, you know, like you look at or the Wii U, they've done a really good job of making their games almost have a timeless art style to them, right?
Yeah.
You look at Mario.
what that was.
Mario is not advanced. Like the idea that the reason why old school Mario games hold up to today is they still look like Mario of today,
Right.
And he has a very simple look. It's pretty, it's colorful, and that's what Nintendo does. And I like it.
Also, you might feel a little bit better when we start seeing footage of like it running on NX.
Right,
All
yeah,
that kind of
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
What if
All
it
right.
runs in 4K? Oh, I don't even know what that means.
Don't worry. it's not
Nintendo
doing
doesn't know
that.
what that means either. They'll
Yeah.
get with 4K after everybody's already done it for a while.
Oh,
All right.
snap. Geez, you're mean.
Dan, what you got?
I fluffed this drawing earlier today, so hopefully I've done a better
Is
job.
that your Dr. Scorpion from
Yes,
earlier?
it's the Xbox Scorpio. He's wearing it's Scorpion, but he's wearing a suit, and he's also got a red ring on his
He
head.
looks like a Russian soldier. He's got
I
the
can't draw Scorpion, okay?
I have learned this.
Fucking hook coming out of his hand. Is that
There
better?
you go. Why is he looking up?
He
He's
has
pointing
just
up now.
a built-in
He-
spear.
that's not even a spear. He's just looking up.
He's
just
not.
an
He's
arrow.
got no eyeballs. It's
It's just
Scorpion.
an arrow.
It's a horrible drawing.
Words over here.
Yeah.
We're on opposite sides of this argument.
Okay, cool.
Scorpio, they came out with a sizzle reel with a bunch of developers basically saying it's amazing, it's got all this power, it's going to be able to run 4K
6
games.
teraflops.
It's going to 6 teraflops, whatever the fuck that means. It's going to be able to like run virtual reality with like no limits, and like the PCs right now that cost $2,000 cannot do that. They cannot run 4K games at 60 frames. Like some of them, sure, but like a lot of them they can't.
Well, the new 1080's just released, and they apparently can do it.
Right.
but-
It's just so like for them to talk about this and then not actually show any specifications, to not show what GPUs are, to not get into that nitty gritty. It's not even like it's 18 months out, and I think they've now said something, and now they have to solve that problem.
Yeah,
so it was cool to see it, but I think there's a lot of smoke and mirrors with this one.
It also, and I think this is going to be Craig's point too, is that it just, why would you announce a slim console and then immediately be like, but don't worry, in like a year, you forget about that. So like, I just think they totally hurt themselves. Craig,
Yeah,
you want to
okay,
expand on
so
it?
I don't get that. I don't understand the idea of that. Danny, I know your thought process is it's a bridge. The Xbox One S is a bridge. Why do we need a bridge? Like the Xbox One it just came out 3 years ago. Like
Yeah, but this one does 4K streaming.
I've never seen anything in 4K ever in my entire life, except for when I go to Best Buy and they show me
Right.
4K TVs, right?
I have. I have it in my living room.
Well, yeah, you do.
But I'll tell you
Tech
that
snob.
it's not a
So are you
big,
gonna
it's
get
not a
nuts?
big selling point to have 4K streaming. I mean, it's still highly compressed. 4K in the living room, you still really need to be very close to the television, and most people don't have, are not sitting, 7 feet away from their 65-inch TV, or it's closer. You're supposed to be closer. So it's not a really big. That part's not a really big selling point, I don't think.
Yeah, I think, the question I have is, those who don't own an Xbox One,
All right.
will they, let's see, I actually think, I didn't put this in a poll, but we actually do have a poll for this. Would you buy it, not buy it, or just buy both, right? And I think the answer
Right.
is they'll wait till the Scorpio comes out.
I mean, that's what I'm gonna do.
If there's a finish line out there, why would you, stop halfway through?
I ran into numerous people since that was announced, just talking about stuff like, oh, what did you think of whatever? And every single person that I've talked to, surprisingly, first was like, I got really amped about the S and I was going to buy it. And then they told me about the Scorpio, and so and now I'm not going to. They're like, why would they do that?
I wonder if there's some sort of, because I used to, when I worked in like GameStop and stuff, I used to always be surprised by the people who bought the new iterations of stuff.
Every
And
time.
It was those folks who were like, who eventually get into every generation, but always a couple of years late, and they just need that extra little push to get them in. There's a library of games now. It's $299, and then
It's smaller.
It's smaller and it looks nice, and that ends up being. So I wonder. There's probably some like really clever salespeople who know that like
Exactly
it'll
what they're
work
doing.
out. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
something you can rally around from a marketing perspective.
That's true as well. Where you can't rally around like, oh, here's the same thing we released 2.5 years ago. I mean, yeah.
Exactly. All right, what's your next worst, GB?
God.
Next worst. Okay, I'm sort of
Or
cheating
most
a little bit.
disappointing. We don't like to use the word worst here.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Most disappointing.
Okay, well
because,
this fits
hey.
this. I fit into this category. Okay, so I have Xbox One crybabies. People who are upset now about this Xbox Play Anywhere program
Right.
that PC gamers have access to these games now. I don't understand why Xbox One console owners would be upset by that. It doesn't take anything away from them, right?
Well, it does. It takes away their exclusivity, is what they feel like.
That's so silly.
I know. No, I get it, and that was a big thing too. And I think Microsoft did a really good job kind of disguising that little slip, because they were like, they weren't just gonna be like, they didn't say the phrases, every game that we're doing is also gonna be on PC, because I think they're worried about pissing people off. So they just casually snuck it in at the end, and they're all just like, and this is also going to be on Windows 10 and it cross-plays with each other. That's what it came right after every single time, but cross-play. So
And cross-buy.
like, yeah, and cross-buy, so.
Great, how can you be upset by that?
I know, it just means like, say you're an Xbox One owner, and if you have a PC, it's only good, and if you don't, what's it hurting?
Exactly,
Right.
it's just a pride thing, it's silly.
Yeah. All right, what do you got, Danny?
Can you figure that one out?
Roll. Oh yeah, I know exactly what they.
Roll!
No, that's.
Oh, bro, that's Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah.
Yes.
There we go.
We
Yes.
always get one bad demo every year.
That may have been
That
the
was
worst. May have been
so
one of the worst.
cringy.
One of the worst E3 demos I've ever
Right.
seen.
It was
So,
the
like-
most broken working demo I've ever seen.
So he could not roll under, or he was trying to like blink past this massive Colossus arm. And there's a thing, right? So we run this live stage here every year.
Yeah.
We usually do like 2 of them sometimes. And the one thing that changes every year is that once you get a lot of people in with all of their Bluetooth and all their Wi-Fi stuff, then wireless controllers seem to have a nightmare. And I wonder if that's what happened, whereas like it was working fine before they started, and then the minute all those people came in, like the latency just totally screwed them.
You're really giving them the benefit of the doubt there.
Maybe.
That's
I
very
mean, he's the
insightful,
guy
Danny.
who demos Final Fantasy 15. He can't be bad at the game.
Well,
But it was just, it was
maybe
such a
he felt the
shame.
pressure of all the people.
People watching.
Yeah.
And it seemed like they wrapped it up early then as well because of it. So it was disappointing because that game has got like, so many aspects that look interesting, like the road trip stuff. And they showed a boss fight and it was busted. And it was like,
I know, it's just rolling, getting slapped at.
Yeah.
And then I love when it was over, he's just like,
Hey, give me a
thanks,
thing.
Matthew. That was great. And it's just like, I'm going to kill you when we get backstage.
Yeah,
Like,
I felt real bad for him.
yeah.
Nightmare.
Poor Matthew. I think that was his name. Lest we never forget, Final Fantasy 15. All right, Craig, what's your
Very clever.
third or second most disappointing? This is probably going to be the last one.
Yep, here it is. This is a franchise that I've
Right.
played quite a bit. Simply just called Gears of More of the Same. Right? Get it? There you go. All right. This is
I don't get it, actually.
If you just called it Gears of More, I mean,
Gears
then
4,
you might
Gears
have.
More. All right.
Yeah, the of the same might have been
Oh, I
supposed
didn't,
to.
now I get it.
Yeah, there you go. I got it. Sometimes you got to explain things. Okay. I get it. You got a chainsaw. What was the initial draw of Gears of War? The Lancer.
Cover
Lancer,
shooting.
yeah.
Big character
Oh, yeah,
models, also big character models.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like we've been there, we've seen it. It's still a game that I love color in video games. Gears is tremendous at having a brown environment. Everything they showed looked like a Gears game before it. Nothing made me go, oh yeah, I really want to play that. That's a system mover. So it was a system mover 3 games ago.
Yeah.
But as soon as I played through Gears of War 1, I did a co-op. It was fun. I played Gears of War 2. I played the intro and said I've played this before, and I put it down. I haven't touched it since.
Right.
Nothing I saw in Gears of War 4 made me want to come back to it at all.
Even the demo that they showed is really drab looking. You know, it's
Yeah,
really
drab.
muddy. It's really muddy. It's
Yeah,
all
which-
dark.
And I think that's been a consensus, especially with all the games right now that are just kind of reimagining themselves that we've been talking
Totally.
about. So
Yeah, you got Final Fantasy doing this crazy
I think that's
stuff.
what hurts it more than anything. And unfortunately, I've got to cut you off. So that was our best and worst of E3. I hope you guys enjoyed it from GameSpot's co-op stage live from E3 2016. I just did the Kermit the Frog thing.
That's
there.
pretty
I
good.
don't know why.
Yeah, that's how we do everything.
All right, guys, so stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few, and we are going to play a fun game called Buy, Rent, or Burn. So we'll see you in a second. Oh, and thanks, Cheapy.
Thank you.